Hello, everybody. It's Gary Stuckey with Real Music. Hope you're doing okay wherever you are today. I'm doing pretty good myself. Just got through talking with an awesome, talented guy, and he just happens to be from right here in Brewton, Alabama. His name is Grayson Capps, singer, songwriter, guitarist. Think Americana, blues, New Orleans, you know, all points in between. Very talented guy, yes. And we had a great conversation. He's got a brand new album coming out in October called Heartbreak, Misery, and Death. And he does covers of some of his favorite artists growing up. Some of those guys, Doc Watson, Jerry Jeff Walker, Randy Newman, and Gordon Lightfoot. So you know the songs are going to be good. He does an excellent job, along with Corky Hughes on guitar. I mean, just out of this world, just saying. And a brand new single called Moody River. You will love it. Going to talk about that. Going to talk about the fact that his dad wrote a book and they turned it into a movie. Did you know that? Love Song for Bobby Long. Yeah, we're going to talk about that and a lot more. And, I think you'll enjoy it. So here we go. Here he is. Here's Grayson Capps. The last time I talked to you, I don't know if you remember, I saw you. I think you were at the Washoe Jam in Brewton.
Oh
And
boy.
that's been a while, but you were doing some shows. I know you've played the Oaks many times. I've seen you over there at the Oaks in Brewton.
Illustrious Oaks. Yeah, I was just talking to Lou Nager
Yeah, I miss the Oaks days and and seeing you play. And I know you've played all over the place, but I always enjoyed your music and your tie-in to Brewton.
the Cold Moon Festival, October 20th. So that's always good. We've done that.
Yeah, I've been to
4 years consecutively.
Oh yeah. I've been to some of those. That's really good stuff, man. That's what we're gonna talk about your new album coming out and I've been listening to it. I was listening to it a few minutes ago. I keep going back to it and it's really good. Uh the title, which I guess the title covers the whole album, but Heartbreak, Misery, and Death,
Well,
that's
we were recording it. Yeah, we had recorded the songs and songs I grew up with. I've been playing my whole life, and I just kind of want to chronicleize them. And when we finished and we're listening back, I was like, "Damn, this is some dark stuff." It's like there's nothing but heartbreak, misery, and death. And the guy was like, "That's it. That's the title."
perfect.
So, yeah.
That's I mean, I was thinking about that. You would think with songs like that, there's like this cloud of somberness and sadness and gloom. But the way you sing, you've always kind of sang with that kind of hauntingly sad mood, kind of storyteller. Not really, and how do you make it go from somber to enjoyable? Because some people get in this little mood of sadness, but it's like
Oh,
you bring out the realness of it kind of makes you relate to it without being so negative, right?
well, I think I try not to dwell, especially live shows. I try not to dwell there. To move the energy. I can feel when it gets too dark and
Yeah.
too or whatever. But and kind of that's why I kind of like the album art because it's cartoonish.
Yeah.
So it's kind of designed to not be too serious. It's like let's go with heartbreak, misery, and death, but have a cartoon cover. And
It's pretty cool. It looks cool. How did you come up with that? Who came up with the design of that?
Dio, he's the artistic, I guess, director for Royal Potato Family, who I've been working with for a long time. The main guy is Kevin, Calabro, who hooked or helped with this, and so yeah, his artistic guy. He came up with something earlier, and I was like, and then he came up with the skeleton with the heartbreak, the teardrop, misery, and the skull is death. And I just thought it was perfect because mostly it was simple and that cartoonish. We had messed with like kind of a darker cover that was more realistic, and it was just too much.
Much, yeah. Yeah, right. But yeah, I think it fits. I think it works. It really does work with the
T-shirts.
song. Yeah, I think that the songs are fitting. What was it about these songs? You grew up, you said, listening to these guys, all these artists sing these songs, and what drew you into these artists and these songs? Why did you decide to put them on an album?
Well, mostly though they're the most influential songs in my songwriting and my growth as a musician, because I mentioned in my liner notes, it kind of started with Bobby Long, Fred Stokes, my dad, and actually Tommy Jennings. I didn't mention Tommy, but it was mostly Bobby, Fred, and my dad would sing these songs. And like today, while the blossoms still cling to the vine, that was, one of the first songs. Well, that was actually the first song I ever learned. And then we had my dad was an avid record collector, and he would play DJs on Fridays and Saturdays. And if those guys weren't there playing, he would be playing songs. And a lot of the times it would be, Doc Watson was a huge influence, and Jerry Jeff Walker. And it just, that's ever since I can remember, ever since I was 2.5 years old, and seeing them have these parties on Fridays and Saturdays and how much fun they were. And they would let me hang out, and as I got older, I'd bring friends over to the house for weekends because it was more fun at our house than anything else anybody else is doing.
Right.
Inviting musicians over and stuff. But these songs, I've been playing my whole life, and one day I kind of came up with just thinking about the fragility of life, and how long I've got to be healthy, and actually put these songs out there. And I was thinking, well, hell, I feel good right now. Let's do it now. I feel great. Other albums, at least wanted to capture these songs that I have played my whole life in a simple way, So I like how I did it.
Right. And they fit your style. I mean, there's nothing too far outside of your realm, that doesn't sound like you. I think this is kind of in your ballpark, that
I mean, I've made it my own, all of them. And like I said, I've been playing them all for over 30 years. So, it was pretty easy to go in and record them. We just did it in 3 days.
Wow, that's cool.
Because
wow.
yeah. And then,
so a song like Moody River, though. Now, I think I was reading about what Gary Daniel Bruce and Pat Boone, who I talked to Pat Boone a few months ago, but he Moody River. Hey, you didn't do the Pat Boone version,
No, I did Watson version.
That was good. That was good. And a good version at that. But songs like that, though, man, when I was listening to it, it draws you in. There's a story behind it. I think you're like this storyteller. That's what I picture in my mind. You're the storyteller, and maybe the songs are somber, but it's like you're inviting people into a taste of life. You didn't say that you made it that way. You're just telling a story. In a song like that, the way you sing it, it really grabs you. It really grabs you, and the music to it is great.
Well, it's a great song, and like if you do a great song, the only thing you're responsible for is to be honest with it,
mm-hmm.
and let it be.
Yeah, that's good.
But that's why I'm drawn to those songs. You know, those songs are like haiku. You know, they're really short, but
Right.
they seem really long. They take you on a long journey. And like the song Alberta, you know, there's another song that I loved that Doc Watson did. And I always thought it was like a 5 minute song, but it's probably 2 minutes and 20 seconds. It
Right.
just takes you on a journey, you know, and that's been inspirational with my own songwriting. So, but yeah, I love those songs. That's, you know, I wouldn't have done them if I didn't.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. And yeah, the first song that's on the album starts it off, "Wake Up, Little Maggie," another
Yeah,
Doc Watson song. That, you know, you're singing a cappella, right?
yeah.
Just and and there's something about that even. Why did you decide to sing it just like that? And was you know, to me, a cappella is like I don't know, there's
Dangerous.
something it's it's that, but it's personal. It's like you know, and I like to just absorb the album and the songs, and I was picturing you and a lot of these songs. It's almost like you were telling a story to somebody sitting across in the room, you know, to the room, you know, like Hallelujah, you know. Great job on that. It's like there's a realness about it, and it's like it's very personal. I don't know. I just find these songs very personal from
Well,
you
they are.
to somebody
They,
listening.
yeah, they mean something in my life. I mean, I've that's why I gravitated to those songs because they touched on real um, journeys that I've gone down in my life, and I can identify with them. And I, uh, yeah, so they're real for me. You know, they mean something to me. It's not like I'm just singing a cover song. It's a song that's alive. You know.
Right. Um, and you know, and that's got to mean a lot to the people listening too. Like I said, with the acapella, I mean, there's something about the acapella that it makes. I don't know. It's like you can feel it more. It's almost like it's raw, and I don't know. There's a certain, you know,
Well,
real to
it
that. You know.
can be powerful. I mean, I used to play this place in New Orleans called Liuzas by the Tracks. And every Thursday, me and this guy, Tom Marin, who was a fiddle player, we would host musicians to come in. And it would just be a bunch of people talking. The room was noisy, had glass and like, real solid floors, like concrete floors, the worst acoustics ever. And everybody's sitting around playing, everybody's talking. You can't really hear anything. And then this one girl comes up and she says, "I would like to play a song." We're all going, "Oh, yeah, what key is it in?" She says, "No, no, I want to sing it a cappella." And she was this Irish chick, and the place was like, la, la, la. She starts just singing, like, you know, wake up, little Maggie. Why do you sleep so sound? And all of a sudden, the whole bar just shut down, got quiet. And it was one of the most powerful performances I've ever seen. I realized there, it's like, if you're telling the truth and you're in the moment, you will bring everybody in. And it's just honesty, focus. It's simple and difficult at the same time, but it's powerful
Right.
when it happens.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking. You know, and to bring people to make people kind of go, "Hey, what is that?" You know, or I'm just going to pause here and listen to this. You know, I'm going to take
Yeah,
time to listen to this. You know,
there have been times
that's
like if this, you know, the show's not very focused, I can just walk off the stage and walk out in the audience and either do a poem or wake up little Maggie, or I've got some other acapella things, and people were like, "What the hell is he doing?" You know, because and
right.
then kind of bring people back in to the show because you're including them, and
Right.
can't, I learned a pretty long time ago to stop getting mad at the audience for not listening to you. If they're noisy, not listening to you, is probably either beyond your control or something that you're not doing to connect with them.
That's just everyday life in the world today, man. But that's the truth. I mean, I have to realize that too. It's like, you know, you can only go so far in what you do, and then, you know.
Oh yeah.
But, you know, it is what it is. But, you know, who are you doing this for? You know, in the long run, when you look back at what you've accomplished in your life, you should be the one that says, "Hey, good job, man," and you're okay with that, and you don't really care what anybody says, because they're not living your life and walking in your shoes. They don't know those stories maybe that you haven't told, that you've been through, and they, you know, nothing else matters as far as that goes. I mean, and I'm sure you have some stories like in these songs. Is there a song on this album that really kind of defines you as a person, that really hits home most of all these other songs? I mean, is there one song that you can really think about that goes, "Hey, this is me, man. This is me"?
I mean, all of them, but, you know, Guilty hits home pretty good. And you know, pretty much all of them. The one that I kind of sing regularly to myself is Today, because it's hopeful and it's a beautiful song. You know, today, while blossoms still cling to the vine, I'll taste your strawberry, sweet wine. A million tomorrows will all pass away ere I forget all the joys that are mine today. And that's like a prayer that I have to constantly say, and it therefore it means, you know, a lot to me, all of them. And even Copper Kettle, you know, it's like I can see it, smell it, you know, be there. And all of them, I have a who, what, when, where, why that I can identify with.
So. Yeah. These songs do that, though. These songs put you at that place. I mean, it's kind of like you're narrating live, and you're inviting people to go along with you on this little journey, and they're like, whoa, and maybe they're saying some things they don't like, or maybe they're going back home, or maybe they're revisiting something, but it's like you're taking them there, you know. And I always love those kind of artists. And I do hear, and I know you've had different influences. I know that you like Randy Newman. I can hear Randy Newman, which is why you recorded his music.
He grew up in New Orleans too, so there's that identification.
That's right.
So a long time. I think he grew up on Willow Street, close to Tulane. So he's got a lot of New Orleans. There's that oh man, I forgot. There's one piano player that if you listen to him, you understand where Randy Newman got his whole thing. I can't think of it right now.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, but there's a certain style that he has, which you got it in you too. And but it's that, you know, I don't know, storyteller kind of a, you know, quality. It just draws you in. It makes the song believable. I mean, you're not trying to be perfect, like this perfect singer with these perfect notes and these. It's not polished, but it's also like, I don't know. It's just, you know, it fits the song. I mean, your voice fits in the music. I mean, like with Corky, you know, playing the guitar, which is phenomenal, by the way. And how do y'all go about, you know, recording, you know, what fits the songs? How do you decide what guitar parts and what belongs in these songs? Some of these solos on there.
Kind of like,
whoa.
I feel like Keith Richards nailed by saying that music is the ancient art of weaving. And so if you can not step on anything, like let everything breathe and work together like a tapestry, you know.
Yeah.
It's too clogged. That's why I really like the simplicity of this group of songs, because you can hear everything. You can hear how it weaves. And Corky's playing comes in and out at the perfect times and does the perfect, nuances and emotions for the lyrics. And he uses the space in between the words, and it's the way I think music shines the best, So
Yeah, he's awesome. How long have you been playing with him? How long have you known Corky? I know it's been a while.
too long. I don't even want to admit it. I think it's been 13 years now, maybe 14. I thought it was 8, but the other day out. And but yeah, it's been a long time, and we've had some experiences together, and I've learned a lot from Corky, and is the only guitar player I've ever played with where I never lose my voice, because he just compliments me while I'm singing, and then I try to compliment him while he's playing. So I give him a full palette. If you ever see,
Right.
see us live, he'll go off
Yeah.
on these amazing solos, but he doesn't
Sure.
step on me while I'm singing. There's been other people I try to sing over and try to, but he's been so much fun to tour with and become a good friend too. So
Right. That's a rare thing, like you said, because I play guitar and I know how it is. And you want to be heard and you want to turn it up to 10. And but it's not good for the singer, because the singer's vocal cords will go snap.
right, that's why I just offer the space, for the singer, and then when it's done, that's what I'm saying. The weaving, the weaving part is where you
It
let the voice.
works.
Yeah.
It really sounds good. I mean, it really fits the songs too. It's not like like you said, he was trying to outdo you or overkill, or anything like that. It was like this weaving matched the mood of the song. It even made it a little peppier, because you might have been kind of depressed. So, and it's almost like it had hope in the sound. There was like songs. It was like there's a hope side of the song. I don't
Right.
know. It's the guitar brings it to life. I mean, it really does add to. And y'all are perfect for each other as far as the voice and the guitar. That's really good stuff.
Funny because, I mean, it's pretty sounds simple, but what Corky's doing on like Hallelujah and Moody River and Columbus Stockade Blues is really beautiful. And then he goes like completely simple on Wreck on the Highway,
Right.
where it's just but it's perfect. It's what the song needs. And Corky is always, I've noticed he's really adheres to what the song wants and needs instead of what to show off or anything. He is there to serve the song, and that's his forte and his magic. It's great.
Awesome. And as a musician from Alabama and this area, and there, talk about Brewton and all the stories you hear and the people. You grew up, I think you grew up until what, 17 or so when you moved away?
Oh, and Brewton, no, I left pretty early. I left in
Early?
seventh grade. I don't know
Seventh
how
grade?
old.
So you're like 13 or something?
Yeah, and then we moved to Fairhope,
Okay.
Alabama, and it was a rude awakening because Fairhope was pretty cliquey, and in Brewton, I'd gone to nursery school, kindergarten with everybody, and all my really poignant, formable, if that's a word, memories came from Brewton, and I like to tell people that was when the '60s hit Brewton in the '70s, so I got to experience the '60s, and it was a whole different time. I mean, I talk about this all the time, but you know, just not having a phone like this, there was just you know, I mean, it's like it's my little diatribe of like I grew up biting lead weights on my fishing line, rolling mercury thermometers, rolling mercury in my hand, drinking water out of a garden hose.
Right.
You know, Evel Knievel was the guy. Everybody I knew had a broken. You'd get your ass whooped or a bicycle helmet, and the big event of the week is when the mosquito truck came through town. DDT fog, you know. I'm like, how's this possible? You know, so you know, it's a different time, but those are my memories, and Brewton was a huge part of it, you know. So.
Sure, and that kind of comes through in some of the songs, and you know, and for people that don't know or don't realize, you know, and I think when I talked to you last, we were talking about, you know, like the love song for Bobby Long, that movie based on your dad's book, and then you were in the movie, you wrote songs for the movie.
Yeah, Bobby Long was a real person too. That's what the people in the movie didn't want to divulge. I mean,
I was, you know, I knew this, but I know that in the movie, and I think there was like this was not based on real people. I'm like, there was a Bobby Long because he worked with my dad at the radio station back in the 70s at WKNU. But so I know that he is real. Why was there a thing why didn't they want him to be a real person?
Well, they probably wouldn't have used his name if it hadn't been for my song. Which the director wanted to use because it was, you know, perfect title of the movie, A Love Song from Bobby Long, which plays off of his love of T.S. Eliot, because he would often recite the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock. And so I'm doing like a wordplay on that. And so the whole movie is very, you know, literary and like has allusions to Carson McCullers and Eudora Welty and Flannery O'Connor and all these people. And so it was perfect, but they didn't want to get sued, you know, and so made it being based on a real person.
Right.
And the after movie interviews, I did like a whole interview that they cut out because they didn't want, because I acknowledged that Bobby was real person.
Right.
I like to say it was a good thing that Bobby died before the movie was made, because he would have insisted that he played himself. You know, he was that kind of
right. Well, he would have been happy that John Travolta played him in the movie, right?
Maybe he was like, he's not good enough.
Yeah, who's this John Travolta guy?
Oh, yeah. He was. I mean, I often, you know, say this, but you know, he's Anthony Quinn in Zorba the Greek, crossed with Al Pacino and Scent of a Woman, with a little bit of Charles Bronson sprinkled on top. That would describe him pretty accurately. He was a larger than life character, but a tragic character. So
yeah, it kind of goes with that somber kind of attitude of the music and the whole. I don't know. It's just, it goes hand in hand with the song. I mean, and the song, of course, mentions Brewton and W.S. Neal and T.R. Miller, so everybody's happy about that. Hey, we made it to a movie. You're singing about us.
Well, you know, all I can do is sing about what I know, and like this, I have a song about Mansell Travis too, and
I remember you telling me that story about him. Yeah, he was a character.
Oh God, you know, you can't forget these characters. I mean, he lived under the camper top of a truck that was like up on cinder blocks for a long time. And I remember when the Nazarene Church bought him a single wide out by Fort Crawford in East Brewton, and we'd go by and see him out there and see him on the streets. And I think speaking of running for office, I think he ran for town coroner and almost won.
Who was running against him?
Yeah,
he almost won. Wow.
Found out that's why he wore the carnation in his lapel. It was because he was always running. But those songs on Heartbreak, Misery, and Death are songs that just mean a lot to me. And, my dad is getting just, health-wise, I don't know how much longer he's going to live. And I kind of just wanted to, put something out, in dedication to him. It's kind of like just to, pay homage to what he exposed me to and what led me down the path of what I do. So it's a very much, exposing the beginnings of my musical education. And I just wanted to have that in my repertoire and in my catalog. And so that's the impetus for the whole thing, really.
That's great. That's a great way to a great present to your dad. Everybody has influences and people that mean a lot to him, but he definitely has had a big impact, especially musically, and what you said and the music. Somebody said the other day, the music that your parents show you or the music that you grow up listening to, now you may break away when you're older, but those songs are so special when you're growing up. Like my dad would play everything from the Beatles to, Johnny Cash, everything. So I grew up listening to all these songs. I'm thinking you can't escape that. So that's got to be running through your head what your dad played and what your friends played, the music, the little live jams that you went to when you were a kid.
Well, it was interesting. His musical taste was a lot more eclectic and obscure, but often better than what I was surrounded with. It took me a long time to get AC/DC, and I still don't get the Grateful Dead because I just think I'll get myself in trouble. But I grew up with Tom T. Hall and Doc Watson, and then and Bill Monroe and Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs and Hank Williams. Then I hear this band kind of, for a lot of people, a band like that exposed them to the stuff that I grew up with. And so for me, I'm not getting this, because I grew up with the roots of what they were doing. So I appreciate them more the older I get, but not early on.
I think it's like an acquired taste. I think you either get them or you don't. It's like, you could appreciate the fact that they're good, but it's like, some people don't like certain foods. You can't force somebody to like that,
It's like Greg Allman was saying, man, this band sucks. And Dwayne was like, well, if you drink some of that punch over there, they're going to get a lot better.
They're great. Hey, I'm just saying. I mean, that's like I said earlier, there's a realness to your music. There's a rawness to it, and it's very listenable. It's very, it draws you in more than probably the music I've heard in a long time. I really did enjoy it. Right.
Well, hopefully there's, the little truth, and if you love what you do, it shows.
Oh yeah.
And
yes, definitely.
And I always go back to, like, a professor of mine once said, if you tell your truth, people might not get your exact truth, but they'll get their own truth. But if you don't tell the truth, they ain't gonna get nothing.
Right.
You got to at least be truthful and honest with yourself, and that gives the potential for someone to find their own truth.
Sure.
And I think that's the most important thing in art, is to give somebody something to hold on to, not blow smoke up their ass. That's the worst thing you can do.
That's right.
Right.
A lot of people do that, talking about the truth. I mean, a lot of people try to have this fake reality to make people happy, but if it's good, it's good.
Yeah, it's the of instant gratification, bells and whistles. It's like, and I think I need to detox from social media because it's kind of wrecked my head too. I get like into these little algorithms with Facebook or TikTok or something, and it's like a drug, and it numbs your ability to be creative, and you just got to be like, ah, it's like worse than alcohol.
No, I totally understand. I try to get away from it, but it kind of, I think it's like a social experiment. I think the government probably said, we're going to try to make people get depressed because so and so didn't like all my stuff, or it wasn't viewed, or nobody commented on my, and after a while it gets in your head, like you said, it gets in your head, and you're thinking and it kind of makes you, it's kind of a selfish thing because you're thinking, I want people to look at me, and you're hoping that, and the truth is they probably are, it's just right.
Thing is rewarded. I mean, you have like Oliver Anthony, is now the very thing that he sang against. He's a rich man.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to spend the rest of his life because of TikTok. And there's these people who become, their whole career shoots off of that. And then there's a lot of people trying to make that happen. And it can happen. But it's like playing the lottery. And I don't think it's a government experiment. I think it's the Wild West of the internet. Nobody's in control. I mean, you got people putting stuff out there, and it's it's very much the Wild West.
Right. It is. Yeah, I don't know. I guess that could be said for anything. I mean, anything could be okay to a certain degree on a certain level if it's not overdone. If you're not putting so much focus and so much hope and energy into this social media, it might be okay. But if it's right,
it's just the first time that stupid people have been given a platform, and it's fucking things up. And then you got people thinking, believe in the stupid people. Then you got a whole bunch of stupid people, and it's like then the stupid people. There's more like, oh well, I feel the same way. Yeah, I mean, before you had to have some kind of validation, a degree, or like go through an editor of Time magazine or something. It's like now it's like
it's
that's
even somebody like me. I mean, who would have thought years ago, I could be interviewing people, but I mean, it's one of those things though. I mean, but I think you could take it and make it a better place. It's kind of like the world, I guess. You could take it and make it a better place. It doesn't have to be bad.
There's many wonderful things. I mean, I try to, when I'm getting on that stuff, I try to follow, Neil deGrasse Tyson, and I like to, the David Attenborough Club, and I like to follow horses and things that I like, and it's kind of the algorithms work out to be fun. I got guitar lessons coming in, and
cool.
Southern Gothic trap will show up on my feed, and it's you can modify it for whatever you want.
That's right.
It's I guess just like life, just another
take comes, I guess, right? And don't let it get you too down, and you keep doing what you do, right? You don't let stuff affect,
well, it's inevitably I keep going back to there's two different types of people, and it just nothing has changed since the beginning of mankind. There's people who react, and they spend their whole lives reacting, and they become victims, and they become like blaming other people. Then you have a type of people who act and create and do things, like you're doing a podcast. So you're actively doing something. You're not sitting there blaming people for, you not being able to do something. And, me, I'm trying to put records out and write songs and perform. And, you know, there are the people who, it's just simple. There's people who act and people who react. And it creates sometimes a division that the two people can't understand each other. And
Right.
It plays itself out all over the place,
Sure.
especially, you know, and that's another reason I thought this was kind of cool to do this album, because it has nothing to do with that kind of atmosphere.
Well, that's good. You know, and I've thought about that before, you know, it's something to think about. And I'm pointing the finger at me. You know, a lot of times people make excuses for things. They go, and it might be a legitimate excuse, but it doesn't solve the problem. You see, that's, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I want to go do that, but there's something in the road and I can't. Well,
But
legitimately, there might be.
if you're creative, you build a bridge over, you do something, or you use it to, you know, in your project. It's like,
You know, but that's it. That's how people win, is because they don't let the legitimate excuses. There are legitimate excuses, and people will listen to you. Well, I didn't do it because of this. Okay, well, you still didn't succeed. Here's your stamp. You know, denied. You're not going to win unless you build that bridge, conquer this problem, go over that mountain, because the mountain, you know, you got to climb it. There's no way around it. You got to climb it. If you want it bad enough, you're going to climb the mountain. And I've been facing that a lot of times in my life, and I'm thinking, man, you're not gonna. The mountain's gonna be there. You know, you can climb it or not.
yeah. And then you can also realize what the root of unhappiness can possibly be, and that is desire.
Yeah.
And if you desire something, you will work to get it, but it's a dead end. There's no end to it. And I think the true path to happiness is to let go of desire, which is antithesis of capitalism.
That's, that's a good point. And that, and tomorrow on our next class, we're gonna know. Hey, but no, that that's really good stuff. Yeah, that's gonna be, you know, for all the students that are here, we're gonna have a quiz tomorrow.
Right.
But that's a lot of truth. That's truthful. I mean, I think that desire overtakes the actual, you know.
But we have, I mean, we are satiated with that. Those are what commercials are for. It's like the way people make a living is to make somebody feel like they need something that they don't need.
Right.
And there's so many products out there that are like that. And um, it can make people rich, you know, and but that doesn't equate with happiness. And some of the most miserable people are rich. Was that old thing? Like the more you have, the more you got to lose.
That's just true. Maybe that's why I'm so happy. I don't have anything. Hey, but you know, but that's true. I mean, that's really true, because you put all your hope and dreams and desire, and when you don't win, but the fact is that you're doing it. Hey, that you're actually doing something.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And
Yeah,
it's not the competition. It's not the you know, the goal. It's, you know, that old adage. It's not the destination. It's the journey. You know,
that's it.
and you know, it's like you just gotta love what you do. You know, and I know that my mom and her husband just had like pacemakers put in, and they were nervous about this minor surgery. And they were asking the question, you know, if I had a day or 2 days to live, what would I do? And they decided that they would wake up, brush their teeth, cook some breakfast, um, maybe watch some TV, hang out with each other, and maybe walk on the beach and have some lunch, and then go to bed. Which is that. So I mean, if you're living the life that you would choose if you only have a day or two to live, then that's the highest you can be, you know?
That's awesome. That's good.
Yeah.
That's
so
the truth.
Yeah. And so many people are just, and I think that's what can create angry people. It's people who feel like they need something beyond what they have. And, I mean, I
Correct.
struggle too, you know, it's like, it's a weird thing. But we were talking about it. Have you ever heard of Seasick Steve?
I don't think so.
Oh, he's
Explain that to me. Okay, go ahead.
Who was real popular in England and Holland, and but he has an album called I think the song is I started off with nothing and I got most of it left.
Hey, that's me. That's right. Got most of it left. That's rough. I'm trying to figure that one out. Hey,
Right.
he's in the negative, and he started out with nothing. I don't know, that can be true, I guess, as far as owing people money, and you're in the negative and things like that. Well, tell me this. I won't keep you too long today, but this album, go back to this album though. What is your ultimate goal for people when they hear this album, the experience? What would make you happy? What would make you say that this was successful?
Well, you already said it. You enjoyed it, and you felt it was more real than most stuff that's out there, and it's simple and takes you to a place with some stories, and it's a little journey. So that's the highest I can hope, was what you said when we started this thing. So thank you. And that's the that's the highest achievement I can expect, or hope for. So that's it. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I know more people when they hear this album, which is coming out October 25th, right?
I think it's actually coming out October 20th, which is my dad. But it's ironically, it's my dad's birthday.
Oh, okay, cool.
Kevin didn't, Royal Potato Family didn't know that, but I thought it was pretty serendipitous.
There's a reason for everything, I believe. No, that's really cool. It was meant to be. I mean, that was really cool.
Yeah.
Well, I know that he will appreciate that, and maybe we'll see, right? Well, yeah. It's like you said about your mom. It's the little things in life, and appreciating them. And hey, how about this? If somebody does a good job, tell them, because it makes them feel better. You'll feel better. That's what I'm saying. I believe in that, and you did a really great job with this album. People are gonna know soon enough that you did a great job. They will hear it. It's good stuff, man.
Well, thank you. And I think it's really crucial to if you do like something, say that you do, and if you don't, you might want to hold your tongue. I don't know. It's like that it can be devastating these days, and putting anything out there can be trying. I'm just I know I'm not ending this well, but I was just thinking about that poor break dancer from Australia that people have been lambasting on social media, and she is a real person,
right?
And people gone so mean,
right.
and
right.
That kind of thing will make people stop creating and stop trying. You need to be on people's side. If they didn't succeed, don't beat them up. Praise, lift them up.
That's right.
And I think to make the world a better place, we got to remind people of their attributes and let go of the negative, accentuate the positive.
That's right, man. Hey, a wise person once said yesterday, it was Billy Bob Thornton. I was talking to Billy Bob Thornton on this podcast, and he said the same thing. He said, when there's critics that are talking about your music, why do they even post it? How about just don't say anything? Like if you don't have nothing good to say, don't say it. If it's good, tell them. I mean, but that's true though. I mean, it's like just shut your pie hole. If it's bad, you're wasting your time talking about it. If you think it's bad, why did you care so much if it's that bad? Right?
Well, see, critics are to me the reactors, and we're the actors. So what?
they're they're wannabes that hate you because you're doing what you love, and they're writing about how much they hate you because of that reason. Right?
Yeah, they just their whole job is to react. So that sounds like a miserable job to me. But
I wouldn't.
Billy Bob Thornton says, like I think most people's mamas said, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all.
That's what that's. I mean, that's a true statement if I ever heard one, and one of the best. And I try to do that. I try to be that guy. I try not to say negative. I try to stay away from negative stuff because it only brings you down.
It's laws of attraction that people need to be aware of. The more that we as a whole are positive and accentuate the positive, the better the world will be. And it takes us focusing on the positive and letting go of the negative, you know.
Right.
So anyway, stay positive, and thank you for interviewing me on your podcast.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. I will have to come see you again. So you're going to be at the Cold Moon Festival in Brewton in
Cold Moon,
October.
playing with Will Kimbrough, and he's awesome. I don't know if you know Will, but being Corky and Will, and the Frog Pond and Silver Hill starts back. But oddly enough, I'm going to Canada next week for 3 shows, and then I think I'm doing an Americana Music Festival in Nashville in September, and maybe some other. I don't know what else I'm doing in September. I'm gearing up to go to Holland and Germany in
Awesome.
October. So I'll be there most of October, and I'll be back for the Cold Moon Festival on the 26th. And
Awesome.
I think I'm having a record release party here in Fairhope at a place called Johnny Mac's on November 2nd, which is the Day of the Dead, which is appropriate.
Ties in all the death and the heartbreak and the misery and all that fun stuff.
Right.
Perfect day, right? Well, I'm looking forward to that, man. I'll have to see you there at the Cold Moon Fest and have fun over there in Europe. And I hope everybody saying really good stuff. I think they won't be disappointed. I promise you. If they're sincere, they will really like this. Good stuff, man.
Well, thank you, Gary. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
All righty. You take care. We'll see you later. All right. Bye.
Yeah, there he was. There he is. There he went. Grayson Capps with a brand new album coming out in October, Heartbreak, Misery, and Death. Be sure to check that out and check out his new single. It's called Moody River, and I think you'll love it. And until next time, everybody, always remember to keep the music real.